but God. Nothing matters but love for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, beloved Baba. Jai Baba to all of you. Today is an important day in the Nori family, but they have not come in yet. Never mind. Still, I was just informed that there is a very prominent song, Namo Meher Baba. Namo Meher Baba. Avatar Namo Meher Deva. So that was an unright song, and that was first sung before Baba on 19 January 1953. Just Merchant informs me. And the second thing is, this is again a very important day, 19 January 1953, when the entire Nori family had Baba's darshan for the very first time, when Baba had visited their uncle's place. So that really is a very important and very auspicious occasion. We are very happy that the family has stuck on to Baba since the last, 69 years. And that's it. I thought I'll just inform you all. All right, now we are reading this book, Intimate Conversations with the Awakener, and we are almost at the fag end of the book. We have a chapter called A Wonderful Bath, and that is on page number 65 of the book. Go ahead.
Standing by the dresser after my bath, I sprinkled a little cologne on my collar as usual. As I placed the bottle on the table, I heard your loving voice. Nice cologne. Taken aback by the sweet surprise, I gazed at his resplendent form. No fragrance can excel the perfume of your presence. You laughed gently at this, and we both settled into chairs. It seems you had a very good bath, you observed. Yes, very refreshing. First, I showered, the cooling water energizing me. Then I got into the tub. Water, water, what a great blessing. In the tub, did you just rub and scrub your body and cleanse the pores? You asked. Of course, what else am I supposed to do? I wondered. Bathing time is a good time for song and sermon. I do sing sometimes, I replied. But what do you mean by sermon? Bathing is a time when you are alone with no one watching you and no one present to preach to you. It offers you the opportunity to listen to the silent wisdom of the body. It is an occasion for you to discover the mysteries hidden under your skin. I'm afraid I don't follow you, I had to admit. In a way, it is simple. As you scrub the skin, why not think of the muscles and tendons underneath which make movement possible? Think of the arteries filled with different types of blood cells bringing nourishment to your body. Reflect on the countless nerves which give you the sense of touch and feeling. If you do this, your earlier approach to bathing as a routine chore will be slowly washed away. It will completely change the way you think of your body. You will begin to marvel at it. The functioning of the body is such that even a single hair serves a purpose and helps sustain you. Gradually, as you become more aware, the beauty and sanctity of each part of your body will be revealed. I'm really eager to hear more on the subject. You looked pleased by my enthusiasm. Today, I will just give you an elementary introduction. That would be most appropriate for a person like me, I acknowledged. Good that you know your limits. Now listen.
Okay, I know there's not much of an explanation required here. But still, there are two things. One is that Baba appreciated cologne. his favorite was Chanel. And what was the I forgot the, anyway, it will come. It always goes and comes. Anyway, there's a particular fragrance which he always liked, and lavender, and which he always liked. And Erach would say that he would pour lavender in the handkerchief. And sometimes in the film, you will see Baba is just, Erach is just wiping Baba's, face when it is perspiring and tired. And Baba would take a deep breath and feel very refreshed. So his favorite was lavender. That's what we were informed. And so you're again, he's asking nice cologne. That's one thing. The second important thing is he is teaching the author how you should scrub your body and also be mindful of what you are doing. You see, and we have seen Baba in films bathing the children, bathing the musk. So he would go to each nook and corner of the ear and all the places, the armpits, the groins, and all that, to ensure that all the dirt and dust is, of course, external. But what work Baba did through the bathing, we do not know. But in short, every little act that we do as routine as a bath should also be given attention to. That is what Baba is trying to say in this particular whatever we've learned so far. Go ahead. Never mind.
My wordless stare. No, sorry, Baba. Good that you know your limits. Now listen, you have had this body for years, but tell me, how many times have you seriously thought about the specific working of any part, large or small? My wordless stare showed that I hadn't ever given any real thought to the subject. You smiled and continued, don't worry, I don't expect you to start studying subjects like anatomy and physiology, psychology, and the like. Thank goodness, I sighed. Those subjects are far beyond my grasp. Right. For now, as a first step, why not start by trying to be mindful of the connections between your body and its workings and your thoughts and feelings? If you do this, you will begin to be aware of the degree of your attachment and close identification with the body. In fact, your wonderful body of flesh is a captivating cage made of sense pleasures. Through a process of silently witnessing the complex functions and reactions of the body, you will become more and more conscious of it. This shall be your lifeline. It will cleanse your mind and purify your heart and help to unfetter you from the attachments of the body.
See, here now, what Baba is trying to convey to my limited understanding would be that we are all attached to the body, our bodies, as well as somebody else's bodies. But the job of the body in reality is to, in a sense, engage our soul and to help the soul or the self or the consciousness to realize itself. But because body has certain sensory nerve endings, therefore we are making use of it for pleasure rather than for what is the real purpose of the body. The real purpose of the body is nothing but to be a medium, an instrument for us to know the answer to the very first question, who am I? So that is why the body is there. So once we become mindful of anything, that is why we say in our earlier sessions also, sir, we used to say that even if you are doing something wrong, even if you are doing something which is harmful, let's say, do it mindfully. And when you do it mindfully, we realize the futility of doing it. And then over a period of time, we become detached from that, and then it automatically drops. So that is why we keep saying that even in our times of weaknesses, of attachments, of whatever you call it as negative, invite Baba in whatever we are doing. So when we invite Baba, we say, okay, Baba, I'm not, let's say, for example, anything, just a simple act of, say, smoking a cigarette. I'm not saying it is right, wrong, good, bad. People say it is bad because of the tobacco content. So do it with consciousness rather than doing it as a matter of habit. Do it with consciousness. This is what I'm doing. This is I'm taking in the smoke, how the smoke is engulfing the lungs, how it is being blown out, and all that. Do it with mindfulness. Do it with Baba as your companion, and then perhaps over a period of time you feel that it's not worth doing it. Same goes for every activity of the body. And here now Baba is emphasizing about bath, that we take bath as a matter of routine, as a matter of a chore, just rub and just come out of it. But if you analyze and go deep within yourself, then the body will inform us how much attached we are to the body, which we are not expected to be. And that is how gradually we will become detached with the body. So let me read this last sentence. Right. From for now, as a first step, why not start? Why not start by trying to be mindful of the connections between your body and its workings? Body has its working, simple. And the moment anything goes wrong with the body, let it be anything, maybe a little finger, maybe no good night's sleep, maybe the eye, maybe the ear, immediately it becomes so pronounced. We realize that we have taken all these gifts from God for granted. We have taken it for granted. Only when it stops functioning or reduces in its efficacy of functioning, we realize, oh my God, what a beautiful bounty that we have received from God. We take it for granted. And your thoughts and feelings. Now, body has a connection with thoughts and feelings. We all know that. And so many of us, I'm digressing a little bit. So many of us, the body is generally sustained by what we call as ahar. Ahar means food. But we feel that food is only eating from the mouth. But thought is a food, feeling is a food, emotion is a food, and of course, the gross food is also there. So if we realize that wrong feeding of thoughts, wrong feeding of emotions, wrong feeding of feelings will make all sorts of garbadi, the body will not function well. And most of us, what do we do when we are supposedly eating, which is a time for us to be at ease, at peace, at oneness with the food, the physical food I'm talking about? We see a television, or we quarrel with somebody in the family, or we discuss some incident, some issue which is not very palatable. And whenever we are seeing something which is on a television which is not very healthy, let's say, then instead of the digestive juices being released for digestion, what we are releasing in the body is some kinds of steroids of fight and flights. Endocrine glands would be very active, and we are seeing some fighting happening, somebody chasing, some accident, something which is not good. So that is why we need to be very mindful and conscious every time about the connection of the body with our thoughts and feelings. That's what Baba is saying. If you do this, you will begin to be aware of the degree of your attachment and close identification with the body. We identify ourselves with the body rather than saying that I have a body. We say that I am this body. See, in fact, your wonderful body of flesh is a captivating cage made of sense pleasures. That's what we use it for most of the time. Through a process of silently witnessing, when you witness something, that means you are detached from it, you are distant from it. And when you do a witnessing procedure for everything that you are doing, automatically, over a period of time, gradually, we become detached from it. The complex functions and reactions of the body, you will become more and more conscious of it. This shall be your lifeline. It will lifeline why? It will cleanse your mind and purify your heart and help to unfetter you. We are in chains, so the chains will be removed. Unfetter you from the attachment of the body. So how beautifully Baba is taking us first to mindfulness of your bath when you're taking bath, and then gradually weaning us away from the attachment of the body.
A kind of bathing in your pure being, I said in wonderment. Yes, my companionship throughout your daily life will free you from the limiting cage of sense pleasures. After saying this, you kept silent and appeared very peaceful. Your words seemed to penetrate deeply through my skin and circulate through my entire being. I knew I was tightly caught up in the den of identification, and there seemed to be no way to come out of it. Sensing my predicament, you lightened the mood by asking me, have you ever carefully looked at your earlobes, the tip of your nose, or your own eyes? These simple questions brought me down to earth as if from a great height. But instead of looking in the mirror to see my earlobes, I looked straight into your eyes. To my astonishment, I saw two beams of glorious light stretching back to a measureless distance. Awed, I withdrew my sight, then sheepishly looked in the mirror and began to feel the tip of my nose. You smiled, and your amusement relieved me of my embarrassment. I don't wish to bother you with this topic anymore. I hope I haven't kept you from your breakfast. Perhaps you were looking for an excuse to leave, and a sense of humor provided it. You put the bottle of cologne back in its case. There was a twinkle in your eye, and I felt as if you were bathing me with the most delightful perfume. In your company, every moment is fragrant with the glorious purity of your presence. I was having my first real bath that day, a matchless introduction to the treasure of being mindful of the mysteries within the body.
This was a very small chapter, but I'll read it again. So when Baba talks about when you are mindful and aware and conscious of anything that you do as a matter of witness, then gradually we feel detached from that. We continue to remain attached because we are not allowing that to pass through our conscious mind at a pace and at a speed where we can analyze and be a witness to what is happening. So, a kind of bathing in your pure being, I said in wonderment. Yes, my companionship throughout your daily life will free you from the limiting cage of sense pleasures. That is what Baba has been telling over and over again. Keep me as your constant companion. When we keep him as our constant companion, we continue to do what we may be habitual to doing. Even if we, as we say, the good, the bad, the ugly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter even if we are habituated to doing something which is we nomenclate that as wrong, ugly, dirty, filthy, whatever, lusty, sinful, whatever it is. Even then, keep him company. When we do that, something automatically, the switch turns, automatically something happens when we may not find the pleasure in doing what we have been doing because of Baba's pure companionship, and therefore over a period of time we lose interest in that, and then it's over with. That is why Baba says, that nobody goes to the search of God as a voluntary and joyous enterprise. Nobody goes. It is brought about how? Through the disillusionment with the things of the world. And the disillusionment will not come unless and until we are engaged in it. You won't be detached with anything unless you are first attached, and then we realize consciously the futility of that attachment, and then we become detached. So it is the disillusionment only that will wean us away from the attachment. So it's a very important aspect to experience everything, even the so-called wrong, bad, whatever you call it, but with Baba's companionship, and then automatically, this is my understanding, automatically you just wean away from that. So yes, Baba says, yes, my companionship throughout your daily life will free you from the limiting cage of sense pleasures. That means the body. After saying this, you kept silent and appeared very peaceful. Your words seemed to penetrate deeply through my skin and circulate through my entire being. I knew I was tightly caught up in the den. Den, den like a cave or some den, in a den of identification, and it has been broken up. Identification. That means I have created a den is where your robbers use a den and all that. It's like a place of hiding and all that. So the real I is using this den in order to conceal itself. And there seemed to be no way to come out of it. Sensing my predicament, you lightened the mood by asking me, have you ever carefully looked at your earlobes, the tip of your nose, or your own eyes? We have all taken it for granted. It's only when the eyes starts becoming dysfunctional through cataract or whatever, then we realize the value of each and every part of the body. Baba uses the word, even a single hair, it has a purpose. These simple questions brought me down to earth as if from a great height, because we have been doing this just automatically as a routine, as a chore. But now Baba is telling us, pay attention to these things. And attention does not mean that you become more and more attached. Pay attention, know for whatever it is worth, know why you have a body, and then gradually be detached from it. But instead of looking in the mirror to see my earlobes, I looked straight into your eyes. To my astonishment, I saw two beams of glorious light stretching back to a measureless distance. Baba's eyes, people who have seen Baba's, they are very sparkling. We see this in the movies, that his eyes, like roving eyes, you can see. He's just having a survey of the thousands of people who have come for the darshan program. Constantly they are moving around, and it is very difficult to stare at Baba's eyes. To my astonishment, awed, I withdrew my sight, then sheepishly looked in the mirror and began to feel the tip of my nose. You smiled, and your amusement relieved me of my embarrassment. I don't wish to bother you with this topic anymore. I hope I haven't kept you from your breakfast. That's a very, very polite way of saying now I'm leaving. Perhaps you were looking for an excuse to leave, and your sense of humor provided it. A very, very superb, heightened sense of humor Baba had. We all know that. You put the bottle of cologne back in its case. There was a twinkle in your eyes, and I felt as if you were bathing me with a most delightful perfume. That is Baba's own fragrance. We have seen it said in a film that, and we all know, perhaps we all know that when Baba dropped his body, somebody asked Erach that, in the Parsis, because he was a Zoroastrian, born Zoroastrian, he was not a Zoroastrian, he was born into a Zoroastrian family. What we do is we clean the entire body, we wash, we bathe the entire body before wrapping it up. So some Parsi gentleman asked him, okay, have you done that? And Erach very simply said, Baba has not had his full bath for the last 2 to 3 years. So you can imagine. And then somebody there are two different occasions. Somebody asked about, that he doesn't take bath and all that. And yet Goher says, and Women Mandali said that there was a certain aroma, a certain perfume in his own being. It was not the aroma of a perfume or whatever you call it, of a scent or something. It was his own perfume. And so whenever Baba would change his sadra, he would pass it on to the women to wash it. And before it goes for a wash, all the women would be sniffing into it in order to get that that divine aroma of the God-man. So here he says that you are bathing me with the most delightful perfume. In your company, every moment is fragrant and the glorious purity, with the glorious purity of your presence. I was having my first real bath that day, a matchless introduction to the treasure of being mindful of the mysteries within the body. So here we end the chapter. We have got still half an hour more than half an hour. So we start another chapter, which also is rather small. So we can do two chapters today. This is called Seeking Happiness. It is on page number 69, page number 69, Seeking Happiness. Hey, 1 minute. Anybody has anything to ask, question, share on what we did just now? The bathing experience. No. Okay.
The horizon was calling out for light. Slowly, the pink hues of dawn spread across the sky, and then the golden rays of the sun began to stream through the leaves of the trees. The branches stirred and danced above me in the fragrant breeze, crimson blossoms smiling joyously. Beneath this delightful canopy in the garden, I found myself in that blissful atmosphere, sitting next to you on a bench. Neither of us spoke for quite some time. Then I said, "How happy I am to find you here. What has brought you here this morning?" You made a casual gesture. "The wind is free and blows where it wishes," you answered. "I don't need a reason for visiting someone. By the way, tell me, what is on your mind just now?" Just now, I reflected momentarily to crystallize the thoughts and feelings that I had been experiencing since I had gotten up that morning. Actually, it is on my mind that I want to be happy. That's all. I have a strong feeling that I should seek and continue to seek everlasting happiness.
See, every one or other, in one of Baba's discourses says, everyone in creation seeks happiness. It may be having a different name. You may say peace, you may say contentment, you may say happiness, you may say whatever, bliss, you may say anything. But basically, every soul in creation is seeking that which has several names, but ultimately it is happiness.
"And why do you want to be happy?" you asked with a smile. "I don't know. It just seems natural. Why don't you try to find the reason? Is there something wrong in wanting to be happy?" I asked, feeling defensive. You laughed softly. "Did I say there was something wrong? I only asked you to try to find the source of this longing." I was reassured. "Well, all right, let me think. When I got up this morning after having a very deep and sound sleep, I felt so rested and peaceful and full of joy that now I find myself wishing that this state would continue in me forever." "And what has stopped it? Why didn't you just remain in your sound sleep?" How wonderful if that were possible. But every day, somehow, I always wake up, whether I sleep soundly or fitfully. Why is that? You ask, you yourself are the reason, you disclosed, smiling again. "I'm afraid I don't follow you," I confessed. "Even during the period of deep sleep, dormant within you are the impulses to experience the various sense pleasures that you are attached to. Also latent within are the feelings of anger, lust, jealousy, envy. These shake you and wake you from your sleep."
So here, each one of us wants to experience whatever name we call it happiness here. We want to be happy, perennially happy, all the time happy. And the author says that I had a very sound, beautiful sleep, and then I woke up. And Baba is asking, and he says, I want that that state of joy, peace, tranquility, whatever you call it, happiness, to continue. And Baba is asking, but then how is it, why is it that it is not continuing? And he says that it is not continuing because I wake up. And then Baba says, why don't you not wake up and continue to be in the sound sleep forever? So he says, I don't know. How can I do that? And then Baba explains that even though we are in sound sleep state, we have, what we understand from discourses, we have certain unspent samskaras or karmas, impressions. They could be good impressions, they could be bad impressions. They are there. Like Baba talks about, anger, lust, jealousy, envy on the negative side. On the positive side, we can have joy, to seek happiness and all that, calm, peace, tranquility, bliss, whatever. All those impressions are embedded in our subconscious mind. And these are impressions. And the impressions will not just go away, just it will not evaporate, it will not dissolve itself automatically unless the impressions are seek all these impressions are seeking expressions, and expressions can only be had in our false awake state. We call this a false awake state, and therefore it is these impressions, Baba uses the word different, impulses to experience. Here the languaging is impulses to experience. There's an impulse to experience all these things, and that is precisely the reason why we get up every day in the morning. Otherwise, if the impulses were not there, impressions were not there, the samskars were not there, we would not wake up only. We would experience infinite bliss eternally in a conscious state. I don't know if I'm making myself very clear. In the sound sleep state, we have no issues, no problems, no headache, no backache, no neckache, no lumbar spondylosis, no mother-in-law, no nothing. But that no nothing is unconscious. When we have that know nothing experience in a conscious awake state like how we are right now, then that is called realization. That's what Baba is trying to say. So here, okay, sorry, that I think I've covered most of it. Go ahead.
Yes.
Cyrus,
Yes. Yeah, go ahead, please. Sorry.
I have a question.
Please go
Sorry,
ahead.
sorry.
Since you said that if you don't wake up, then all these impressions or karmas or whatever it is, they will be washed away or they will be completed.
No, I did not say that. I did not. What I said was, what wakes us up are these impulses or impressions.
Okay.
That's
So
what I said. Go ahead.
those people who die in sleep, is it that they are all
No,
devoid of this?
I got your point. I don't think so. We say that he died in sleep, but how do we know that he has died in sleep? Maybe he got up, he was awakened by a pain or a heart attack or whatever it is, and then he died. Because nobody dies in that unconscious state. That is what I feel. Well, maybe an accident. Supposing in an accident, there's an impact and you die instantaneously. Or a bomb blast, you die instantaneously. But that does not mean that the samskaras have been wiped out. The samskaras are there. Such persons take more or less immediate birth. That's what Baba says. That when such things happen, what we call accident, the residual samskaras will give that person immediate birth. Immediate would mean as early as after the 4th day of the dropping of the body. I got your point. It does not mean that persons who supposedly die in what we call as sleep, it doesn't mean that their samskaras are over.
For the lifetime that they brought, that is over.
No, it may not be over.
For the lifetime that they
That
brought.
also we do not know. Okay.
Sorry?
Okay,
What did Soumya say?
I said, because in Baba's discourses it is that in this lifetime we have brought some sanskaras. So we may have chosen the way out through sleep for this lifetime that we brought. We have got a lot of load. But for this lifetime, I brought little from the table, which after I finish, I will die. Otherwise,
Yeah, I agree. What she's trying to convey is that we have a buffet table of samskaras. We only bring us a plate full of whatever we wish to experience in this lifetime. And when that plate is empty, we go back because the body has no reason. And there is every possibility that in that scheme of things, it was
I
decided that
choose
that the person
how
died.
to
Yeah.
die. I
Maybe.
had bomb blast, an accident, go to sleep, and any sickness. I have chosen the way out. I consciously choose it. Means in the beyond when before coming, I have chosen the way I'm going to exit. That is the
No,
way.
in short, what you are asking is that if a person dies in sleep, does it mean that all his sanskaras are over? I would say no. I would say no.
Total sanskaras are not.
Because he asked, Baba asked, why did you wake up then? You
Correct.
should not have woken up. So, that is why this struck to me.
I got your point.
તો આપણે સુઈ જ રહેવાનું.
Right, but you
But
can't.
you can't.
It doesn't. You can't sleep forever.
The karmas for this lifetime will board you because you come with only one agenda to experience those
Baba says
and go
that
faster.
Go-
Merge with the.
Baba even used the word
Later.
somewhere. That samskaras will goad you. Come on, get up. Come on, get up. Spend me. Utilize me.
Oh,
So it will keep on happening.
For this lifetime, what you brought.
Yeah.
But for this lifetime, if you finish, you go.
And another thing, since we are on the question, earlier you were talking whilst taking bath, what you should do and all that, you have to concentrate. So that reminded me about Alec Padamsee's earlier advertisement
Okay.
about Liril soap.
Ah,
So, there was a lady who was having bath under the
Waterfall.
Lonavala
Waterfall.
waterfall. So he was asked, why did you take this? So at that time, he said, we did a lot of research and we found out that a housewife of a middle class can get time to herself only when she's having a bath. Middle class women,
Okay.
they have no time to themselves. They have to take care of their husband, their children, their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, and so many things. So for herself, she has only one time, and that is when she takes her bath. So there was a very
Right.
famous lady who was taken as a model at that time. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
no, this is so much of togetherness. I mean, similarity between that thinking and Padamsee's research,
Yeah.
So this is what I just wanted to highlight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear. Okay, Dilshad has a question, I suppose.
Jai Baba, Cyrus ji, Jai Baba,
Baba.
Sandhya, and everybody. Cyrus ji, am I right in thinking or remembering from God speaks that during the sleep, whatever sanskaras in deep sleep only get exhausted? Why in that process, new ones are not accumulated?
In deep sleep,
you
in
don't.
sound sleep, nothing happens. You neither accumulate nor you exhaust. But in the dream state, the dream state, REM state, there when you are dreaming, you are exhausting, but not accumulating. In sound sleep, it is balanced. Nothing happens. Neither
Only in
accumulation nor spending.
Yes, my understanding was the same, that it doesn't, you don't incur anything, but you spend away.
But you said deep sleep, not deep. It is in
No,
it's
there
a
are-
dream. Dream.
Yes, I
Not
stand
deep
corrected.
sleep. Not
Yeah.
Yes,
deep.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Rapid eye movement, REM sleep would do that. So that is confirmed. And another thing, when we are talking about the sanskaras of this lifetime, my understanding is that there are so many sanskaras which will be in some way or the other always balanced.
Obviously.
That is why you take it
After
light.
that this lifetime sanskaras, the balance will always remain, right?
Of course.
Definitely.
Of
Thank
course.
you so much.
That is correct. So only those which we have brought when they are finished, because now whatever we are doing just now, they have different moratorium, as I had explained sometime earlier. They will have to be exhausted in the heaven or hell state to a certain extent, And
for the next life.
and the residual again when we reincarnate.
If you take Baba's name, you're out of it. Even if you have a load.
Right.
If you take Baba's name, even if you have a load, you're out of it. Yes, Zia.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai
Thank you so
Baba
much.
Shiji.
Yes,
Jai
Zia.
Baba.
Jai
Yeah,
Baba.
I'm listening. We are both listening to the meeting together today. So I just want to go back to that one point that Cyrus said, that if there was a bomb blast or there was an accident and you died in the residual sanskaras, one sec, Soumya, residual sanskaras, you take rebirth after the 4th day, could be, and then you complete those sanskaras. But then what you said was that you come down with, say, 50 sanskaras, and those sanskaras you complete in that accident. So how does that balance? I mean, I'm not understanding that.
See, Baba, see, now this is my understanding that the accident may have been factored in your samskaras itself. That
Yeah,
you
got it.
an accident after finishing all your samskaras, this is the, and then you are popped up, then you don't come. But Baba has definitely explained that people who die in wars, so many numbers, or something that happens by way of accident, which again is very not understandable, which is not factored in your karmic mold, but it's an accident, Then in that case, you are born very quickly, and Baba then said that as quickly as immediately after the 4th day. That's what, with the residual samskaras.
That's right. So both can happen.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Baba, since we are on the topic, Baba has also said, sometimes there are certain children who don't show affection to the family members, and they could be cases from these two factors, what we just saw.
Because they are not finding the most optimum samskaric bonding where they can be born. So they are given to the womb of those ready to accept any soul. So that's how it happens. And although they are born in that family, they don't seem to be having any attachment with the family or the parents. That could also happen.
Okay, that's very interesting actually.
Yeah.
That's
Dilshan,
very
your hand is up. You still
That's
want
why
to
I
ask?
did it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I have a question, Sarasji.
One minute. Zia, are you through?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Dilshan.
When Zia mentioned something like you come with 50 sanskaras. Now, my understanding is that the sanskaras could be of many life cycles before, right? I mean, it could be a reincarnation that happens.
Right.
It is not possible that everything gets exhausted. Some of it may get exhausted, right?
No, Baba says in the discourses that in the normal course, the body gets dropped when the samskaras which that soul has brought for experiencing in this lifetime are exhausted. That's what Baba says. These are more or less the words are that the samskaras which you have brought for experiencing an exhaustion in this particular lifetime, when they are utilized, spent, exhausted, expended, then the body drops, because the purpose of the body was to spend and experience those samskaras, and that is over. That's the normal. Now, there may be a million and one, subsections where if this is there, then this is there, then this is there. It may be, but this is what Baba says under normal death appears. Normal death happens like this. Yeah, go ahead.
So, if one were to take that analogy further, say one would have 1,000 sanskaras, and Baba has given this birth for you to spend 75. Once you spend 75, then
Baba doesn't give you choose.
Yeah, you choose to bring them.
You
Yeah,
choose.
correct.
Baba doesn't.
If you have chosen,
I mean the nature, the law, universe. What I
correct. If you have brought 75 and if 75 is over, yeah, you'll go.
Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. But I'm just extending this thought a little bit. But Baba talks in beams, which is a very superb book, where Baba says that, okay, you have a lifetime, let us say, of 75 years. Let's talk about in number of years. You will live for 75 years. But down the line, you have been, a glutton. You have not bothered about taking care of your health. You eat anything and everything. You do some kind of misdeeds which weakens your body. Then although you have been destined to live for 75 years, you may pop off at 70 or 65. because every moment is a moment of change in the mold of samskara. So there is no such thing as we call, the birth date and the death date. And I don't know why people talk about marriage also. And the marriage, all are fixed. There cannot be any change and all that. Baba explains in the beams that it's all a floating thing and it keeps changing as you accumulate more and more samskaras, whether of health or of ill health. So that is also a very important factor which makes us feel that we are, in a sense, although apparently we are in charge of our life, we are in charge of what is known as free will or free choice.
Co-creators.
We are co-creators in this life, and we can extend our life or reduce our life based on how we live in this world. Baba clarifies that in the beams. Okay.
And
But Cyrus, that means you can take the
Aman, one sec. Just let me finish this chart. Please.
So Cyrus ji, what I've also learned from you is that there are universal laws and there are certain principles that apply. So obviously there is something like a biological degradation. If we abuse, we will be doing that. So am I right in my comprehension?
You learned from Baba, not from me.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Aban, go ahead.
Just now you said that you bring, say, out of 1,000 sanskaras, 750 or 500. So we have a choice to bring them along with us?
Seems like yes. It seems that you bring a certain quota of samskaras to be utilized and experienced. Because see, there is a mixture of samskaras. That there are mixtures of beautiful samskaras, ugly samskaras. It doesn't get mixed up. So this time I've brought my certain samskaras where I'll be, living like a prince and all that happily. But those so-called negative samskaras are still there, which are supposed to be experienced, isn't it? So maybe I put it off for the next life. And at that time when I come, I'll become like with all sorts of misery and sickness, and people ill-treat me. And I'm this. So it happens like this.
Also, Baba said in this life also, you will choose to experience both the opposites. And I found it very true, especially if you see from famous personalities in the film world. They come from rags, they go to riches, and they go back to rags, or vice versa. So it's so true about Baba's statement, which you get to see. So in this lifetime itself, I can choose both the opposites.
You can choose in the sense, you may
choosing.
not consciously choosing, we may
the soul
consciously
sense
do
we
it
are choosing.
from the soul's reckoning, yes.
So Cyrus ji, if I can just add in here that in beams, if I mistake not, it is also written that Baba has said that the soul, more than selecting the parents, selects which family where the siblings, because of the karmic account that needs to be settled.
Listen humanity.
Yeah. In Listen Humanity, Baba says that it is not the parents.
I have not read Listen Humanity. I have read these two books where, and I sent it to my siblings because I have 4 siblings.
Okay.
The understanding is that we always select our father or mother, but no, here Baba has said more about the siblings because they're.
But the first one,
you do you do select your parents also, but Baba says the bonding, the samskaric tie is more with the siblings than with the parents. So yeah, correct.
The first child chooses the parents, the others follow for the siblings more than the parents.
Go ahead.
May I please ask a question?
Please do.
I experience Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, dear. Bolo.
Jai Baba. So I just wanted to know this because what Soumya said, I have not heard that before. That we have already predetermined how we are going to exit.
Go ahead.
That's my question. We have predetermined how we are going to exit.
Again, all this.
So am I going to get out of this life with an accident or whatever, suicide or whatever? Is that predetermined by me before I started this life?
You see, the point is, what I understand, even if it is predetermined, you can always change it. Because that is where this free choice comes. Because even though it is all predetermined, that we will die of sickness or whatever it is, we can choose to remember Baba through our own force of will, and ensure that this is our last life. This is our last reincarnation. isn't it? So in every aspect of our living, I feel, although there is a predestiny, and that predestiny is caused because of our past karma, it can be altered, modified, undone through karmas in the present. This is there in the discourses, page 330, 331, where Baba says that you have a free choice to make alterations in your so-called predetermined. There is nothing like cement, concrete. This is it, because everything that is happening in the domain of illusion, is happening in the domain of shadow, it is happening in the domain of dream, or nothing into nothing, zero. So that scope is there to play around,
Also,
but
to alter.
in illusion.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Thank you. Perfect.
Cyrus,
Baba.
which page of discourse?
I think it is 330, 331. Discourses, edition 730.
Yes, we had done it earlier.
Yeah.
Yes, we have. Thank you. Jai Baba.
Thank you, thank you.
Jai Baba. Go ahead.
Yes, that is the problem. I agreed. But how am I to solve it? By not treating it as a problem, you chuckled. When you are awake, you simply but sincerely try to be aware that I am the source of bliss within you. This will lighten the burden of the I-centered actions, thoughts, and feelings that enmesh you. And if you do this, you may find yourself experiencing a deeper peace and equanimity during your waking life.
This is a very beautiful sentence where Baba says that in order to solve your problem of how will you always tend to be happy, is that I-centeredness has to be set aside and Baba's presence is to be brought in. Then whatever we are doing, we will be doing it with the same earnestness, same whatever, but we will not be attached with the result. As a result of which, we will experience joy, peace, happiness, etc. Very important.
Is it really so simple? I wondered. Normally, I feel overwhelmed.
Sorry. When he asked, how do I get over this problem? Very beautiful sentence. By not treating it as a problem. Very important sentence again. Don't treat your problems as problems. It is not a problem. It's an issue. It's an instance. It's a place where you are supposed to overcome. The moment you say, I have a problem, then it becomes a problem and you feel that you cannot overcome it. Go ahead.
I feel overwhelmed by the events and emotions of the day. I'm swept away before I hardly know what has happened. Can you give me some suggestions as to how to go about this? Yes, I can give you a couple of simple tips. See if you can follow them. Certainly, I will try. First, when you get up, smile. Just smile for a while. And then continue to smile some more, just for the sake of smiling itself, and see what happens. You may find that that smile fills your being with joy. With very little effort, you may discover that the joy stays with you for a good part of the day. Try it. There is practically no investment and the highest dividends.
Normally, when we get up in the morning, the first thought is what so much to do in your day, this, that. It may be office, it may be school, it may be college, it may be some issues. So Baba is wanting to break that and say, the first thing when you get up in the morning, just smile. That means, in other words, you are remembering Baba, obviously. So when you remember Baba, the day, you start your day with the remembrance of Baba, with a smile on your face, smile a little more, and then start whatever you want to do. And Baba says, there's no investment and very high dividend if you do that on an ongoing basis.
Really? That sounds very encouraging. Here is another tip. Try to be aware and appreciative of all the little things you take for granted. For instance, if you go for a walk, you may look at the flowers and allow yourself to marvel at their beautiful colors. At the same time, remind yourself of the pain they have necessarily gone through coming to blossom. Look at the pebbles and see that they are as great as the great ascetics, completely unfazed by heat and cold, wind and rain.
So Baba has given that there is no better example of surrender than becoming like dust. And Baba says you cannot become dust outright. You have to first become like stone. Here Baba uses the word pebble. So you have to become like stone. That means unfazed, untouched, unattached to anything, unbothered about anything. Become like stone. But Baba says, when I say become like stone, doesn't mean that you should have that kind of consciousness, the low consciousness of stone. What he means is remain unfazed, undisturbed, unperturbed with whatever is happening. And then once you become like stone, then Baba would grind you into dust. And that is where the sentence comes, become the dust at the feet of a perfect master. That means no separate will as such. Whatever the master says, you do.
They will show you how to take life as it comes, unmoved and unaffected by either sorrow or delight. An awareness of such things gives you a receptivity to the silent messages which reveal the inner wonders of life.
So once you are tathast, unmoved, then from within you will get messages, you will get all kinds of guidances, because you are not unmoved by the happening outside of you. It could be either very, very joyful or it could be very sorrowful.
This will help you journey towards that continual happiness you are seeking. How wonderful.
So in other words, he was seeking continual happiness, and Baba says, be detached, be a witness. Just observe what is happening. It is not happening to you at all. It may be happening to your surrounding. It may be happening to your body, but not to you. So have that kind of wisdom of remaining detached. And if you remain like this, with my input, with my company within you, you will be able to achieve perennial happiness which you were seeking. Go ahead.
How wonderful it would be to wake with a smile and take the kind of walk you describe.
Means walk with awareness.
This ever so brief life of the day should be a constant experiment in relation to the greater life, you added. Unbinding moments, fresh and renewing, show you the true beauty of the greater life.
Unbinding moments. Every time, remember not to get ourselves bound or attached to those moments.
However, you must not become attached to those moments which you consider to be the best. These very moments may become like golden chains which will fetter you and hold you back in your journey to me.
So even detachment we can get attached to. So that's what Baba is. So don't be attached to detachment. What is it? Tarke dunya, tarke maula, tarke uppa, tarke tar. Tarke tar means renounce. Renounce this world, renounce that world, renounce your religion, renounce everything. And finally, renounce the very thought that you have renounced. That way.
Walk on, go on. But also remember that though you believe yourself to be seeking happiness, it is, in fact, the ocean of happiness and bliss within you that is seeking you.
Baba has said this time and time again, that you think you are the seeker, but actually the sought, that means Baba, God, is actually seeking you out much more, enthusiastically, much more vehemently, forcefully. It is He who is wanting us to seek Him rather than us seeking Him out.
This is the irony of life.
This is the irony of life.
There was silence again. I thought about trying to formulate an amusing remark, but instead, too moved for that, I said to you, it is your presence that gives me the brightest smile. It seemed I could feel your breath beneath mine as you were sitting so close to me. You looked deep into my eyes, and that silent response meant more to me than words could ever convey. I was pulled within into a state of reverie. Then you patted my shoulder.
Reverie is extravagant daydreaming. You are just so deeply in Him. Yeah, go ahead.
Then you patted my shoulder and a surge of vitality flowed through me. I wanted to express my gratitude to you in some way. Just then, a blossom fell from the branch hanging above us. Taking my eyes off you for just a moment, I bent down to pick it up as a humble offering to you. When I turned back, you had already gone. As I looked around, unknowingly, I was led to the base of the tree trunk behind the bench. I lovingly knelt and placed the blossom there in hopes that it would be accepted by you, the root of all life. As I got up, I felt that the flowers and the pebbles on the path were reflecting your lively smile.
Exactly 6:30, and we are through with the session. Basically, it all comes down to that one thing which we've been repeating over and over and over and over again, keeping Babas as our constant companion in whatever we are and whatever we are doing. Any questions to ask, anything to suggest, any sharing? Nothing.
Beautiful.
Okay then. Yeah, Perrin.
Beautiful. Jai
Baba
Baba.
is always beautiful.
Yours.
Baba
Yes.
is beautiful. And we are
Yes.
so
And he's
blessed.
smiling at us.
We are so blessed to have such a beautiful literature, which is, like DIY for us, do it yourself for us, guiding us at every step as to what we should be doing, we shouldn't be doing. So thank you, Baba.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of you. Avatar, Meher,
Meher
Baba,
Baba,
Jai,
Jai.
Jai
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 Baba.
Baba.
Thank you, Baba.
Jai Meher Baba. Jai Meher Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Thank you.